What is up, math superstars? So I am on location here at the library to help you with reading and understanding fraction word problems. All right, so we have this question here. It says April made 40 cookies for an upcoming bake sale. So let's go highlight some key information. So 40 is the total amount of cookies. She made 3/5 of the cookies chocolate chip, which are delicious. And then she made 1/4 of them peanut butter. So the question is asking, so let's go ahead and highlight the question. How many chocolate chip and peanut butter cookies were there all together? And so you notice that we have some different steps here. So let's go ahead and all we're going to do is identify operations and set it up here. And so if I identify the operations, so if I have 40 cookies and I'm doing 3/5 of the cookies, of a total means you're going to be multiplying by that fraction 3/5. If I do the same thing with peanut butter, I have 40 cookies and then 1/4 of them are peanut butter, I'm multiplying by 1/4. After I set those up and I solve that, which means I make 40 into an improper fraction, and I solve that, we need to answer the question, how many are there all together? So which say in that case, you're going to add up both your totals together to find out how many total cookies were chocolate chip and peanut butter. So question number 2, it says a recipe for punch says to use 2 3/8 cups of orange juice, 1 3/4 cups of pineapple juice, and then it says enough mango juice to make it go all the way to 8 cups. Jill wants to make 16 cups of punch. How much mango juice? So here's the key. Mango juice will she need? So the first thing is we figure out that we don't know the exact number of mango juice, but we can do a couple things to figure this out. And so the recipe, if we add 2 3/8 plus 1 3/4, that'll give you how much juice has been added so far. So when we do that, make sure you have the common denominator as 8. So if I was going to rewrite this, I would say 2 3/8 plus 1 6/8. And you go ahead and add those together. After that, you realize that, you know what, that adds up to some of the juice, but to get to 8 cups, you would do 8 cups minus whatever total that you get here. So you subtract 8 cups from this amount. That will give you the total for the mango juice. And obviously we're not solving it, you have to do the solving part. But see, that makes 8 cups. To go to 16 cups, the last little step is to multiply whatever fraction you get for the mango juice. So whatever the mango juice was, you're going to go and multiply that by 2. So we're essentially just doubling this recipe. And they'll help you to solve this. So you got a lot of little steps, and the key is to do one little step at a time to get to your final answer. We have this question. It says Manny lives 3 3/5 miles from Jean. They met halfway between their homes. How far did each of them travel? And so if I was going to draw a line for Manny, draw a little picture here, and Jean, the distance between them is 3 3/5. If they meet, so that's a total distance, but if they meet halfway, say that's halfway, we got to figure out what that distance is right there. So to do halfway, what I can do is you can set it up like this. You can do 3 3/5. You can divide it by 2. And so in order to do that, you'd make improper fractions. So you do 5 times 3 plus 3. You get 18/5, and then you do divided by 2 over 1. And then you can flip the second fraction and multiply would be the best bet for this one. For this one, you'll get an improper fraction, and then you change your improper fraction to a mixed number. Once again, you got to do all those. We're just talking about how to set them up to be successful. So halfway will give you the distance right there that both Manny and Jean need to travel to meet together. So here we go. At Travis's birthday party, 5/8 of his birthday cake was eaten. The next day, Travis ate half of the remaining cake. What fraction of the cake did he eat the next day? And so for this one, so let's go ahead and draw a picture here. So I'm going to do a square cake here, and let's make 5/8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And let's go ahead and do some blue icing. So there's 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8. There's 5/8 of his birthday cake was eaten. The next day, Travis ate half of the remaining cake. And so the remaining cake is right here. So that remaining cake is 3/8. If he was going to eat half of that, what you would do is, I'm going to cut those pieces in half. And I have that part remaining. What I would do is I would take 3/8, and then you're going to be multiplying it by 1/2. Half of the remaining cake. And so what I would do is I would then multiply across to get your answer of what fraction of the cake did he eat the next day. So it says Matt plans to run 5/8 of a mile every day this week. And then he runs 1 1/3 miles every day next week. About how far will he have run at the end of 2 weeks? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this up. I have 5/8 times 7 days. He runs every day times 7/1 for 7 days. And then you're going to get a total. So that's going to be week number 1. Week number 2, he runs 1 1/3. So I'm going to write that as 4/3 because I'm going to write that as an improper fraction times 7/1. And then what you have to do is how far will he run at the end of 2 weeks is that you're going to go ahead and add up those two totals together. So last but not least, you have Emily here. She's baking chocolate cupcakes. Each batch of cupcakes requires 2/3 cups of cocoa. If Emily has let's underline 2/3 cups of cocoa. If Emily has a total of 3 1/4 cups of cocoa, how many batches here? And so we know we have a division problem if we have things like how many batches of cupcakes will she be able to make. So I'm going to set it up. I'm going to set up the total first. That total right there has to be your first number that you write down. So you have 3 1/4. And I have division problems, so I'm going to divide by 2/3 here. So there's your setup. Make the improper fractions. 4 times 3 plus 1 is 13/4 divided by 2/3, and then you have to solve it from there. So if you flip the second fraction and multiply, you go ahead and do that. If you make common denominators, do that as well.